The year is after Colony 196. Treize Khushrenada is dead, and the Earth and the colonies have achieved a new, uneasy peace under the fledgling organization Earthsphere United Nations, or ESUN. The Gundam pilots, their mission over, look for new ways to use their skills in times of peace, with mixed success. Unfortunately, times of change are always seized by opportunists.
That are alive, you're coming with me.
ZX Spider-Man Commodore 128 and 64. I hit the floor, I hit the shore. Got game skills from days of yore. I close the dead computer rolls, playing till.
Welcome to Beef Snake Nerdcast. I'm Bolter. And I know I said last time we'd be talking about a character from the Bionicle universe. Unfortunately, that script is not quite done yet, and this one is. So sit back and relax as we talk about one of the more beloved series of Gundam, Gundam Wing. The follow-up and last installment of the After Colony timeline of Gundam, Mobile Suit Gundam Wing Endless Waltz, was initially released as a movie and was later expanded to a 3-episode miniseries, or OVA, with additional footage. With the booming popularity of Wing in North America, it was advertised extensively as the last chapter of Gundam Wing, and premiered on the Canadian TV channel YTV and the American channel Cartoon Network. With the demilitarization on the Earth's sphere and its accompanying colonies, the Gundam pilots, Hero, Duo, Trowa, and Catra, have elected to send their Gundams into the sun, putting the weapons at peace forever. However, the others are concerned about the absence of Wu Fei and his Gundam Altron. Meanwhile, an ESUN task force known as the Preventers, made up of Noin, Un, and Sally, are attempting to track down the leads on the colony L3X18999, seeking armed independence from Earth, as well as a potential new model of mobile suit. This lead is all but confirmed, as Relina Peacecraft, now Vice Foreign Minister, is abducted by the visiting colony. The pilots spring into action to try to prevent this war before it begins, with Hero and Duo teaming up to raid the colony and save Relina. But without their Gundams, they meet limited success. This is made worse when they are blocked by none other than Trowa, in the new Serpent mobile suit, and Wu Fei in his Altron Gundam. As this is happening, Catra and his trusted companions, the Maganak Corps, race to intercept the 4 Gundams before they reach the sun. This all comes to a head with the announcement from L3X18999, indeed announcing independence and war, by none other than a young girl going by Marimea Khushrenada, the daughter of Treize Khushrenada. Determined to carry out her father's ideals and claiming that the human race needs war to remain strong. Backed by Treize's old supporters, armed with the new Serpent mobile suits, and funded by the Barton Foundation, it becomes clear very quickly that these plans have been in motion for far longer than anyone suspected. Not everything is adding up, though. Marimea is making announcements and boasting about her father's will, but she seems to be younger than 10. Her military commander, on the other hand, Dacom Barton, seems to have a better grasp on the overall plan. Said plan would be a repeat of Operation Meteor, but in its original form. A colony drop on Earth, followed by an overwhelming military force sweeping in to mop up any resistance. Good thing, though, Trowa never really was on their side. He allows an opening for Hero and Duo to escape into the colony. Another unexpected factor trying to hinder Dacom's plans is the sudden reappearance of Zex Marquise in his Tallgeese 3, fighting with the Preventers and attempting to block the descent of Marimea's forces to Earth. The Preventers fight hard, but with the threat of L3X18999 being sent into the atmosphere and killing billions, Zex can only stand by and watch as the Serpent suits begin to deploy on a helpless Earth, along with Wu Fei, Marimea, Relina, and Dacom. They've made planetfall. It's a good thing Hero and Duo fight their way to the L3X18999 control room, where they find Trowa, already working to stabilize the colony and prevent its descent into Earth's atmosphere. With the threat of the colony drop neutralized, Zex gets the all clear and starts going to work, thinning out the ranks of Marimea's army. But the coup is already well underway, and the bulk of the forces have already made landfall. At that moment, Catra contacts the other pilots, informing them that he has retrieved the Gundams and is en route to Earth. Hero, being a stone-cold badass, asks for a mid-flight pickup of his Gundam, Wing Zero, while Duo is captured by Troa to maintain his cover. With Hero making an early connection with the Wing Zero, he's ahead of the curve in the counteroffensive against Marimea's army. Or he would have been, but Wu Fei was waiting in geosynchronous orbit in the Altron to intercept him. Back on Earth, Zex, backed up by Noin in her Taurus mobile suit, fight desperately to disable the legions of Marimea's mobile suits. If it wasn't for the pilot's skills and expertise, this would be a pretty hopeless task. The Serpent suits just keep coming, and they're designed for mass firepower. Help is on the way, though, as Duo single-handedly breaks out of his cell and makes for a shuttle that has already been commandeered by Troa. And they're on their way to meet up with Catra and pick up the remaining Gundams. As the fighting with Zex, Noin, and the Serpents rages on, Marimea, Dakim, along with Relina, occupy the presidential estate, now bunkered down into a very impressive underground fallout shelter. No, really, the entire estate itself is underground, behind no less than 6 heavy blast doors. Unbeknownst to them, unsnuck in before the estate was able to fortify itself. It's at this point, with Relina's insistent questioning and negotiating skills, does Marimea's motivation begin to fall apart. Trey's had very strong ideals and a nearly flawless reasoning behind his methods, matched with undeniable charisma, an excellent wardrobe, and that jawline. On the other hand, Marimea eventually admits that while she waxes on about the endless waltz of human history, she actually doesn't care all that much about this coup and just wants to win the fight, as, according to what she's been told about her father, winning is all that matters. At this point, Relina sees that, while absolute pacifism is an admirable ideal, it will always crumble in the face of those who are bent on fighting and warfare. Relina manages to get to a terminal and relay a short message, out to the masses to fight back. Not to defeat the enemy, but to uphold the peace that they lost so much for during the Grips conflict. Back up in orbit, the Ultron and the Wing Zero clash, as Hero and Wu Fei question the direction of the world. Wu Fei, a warrior to his core, believes that this peace is a slap in the face of all the soldiers who lost their lives in war. He argues that they will be forgotten and the world, the people, will not change. More war will follow again, and the endless waltz will continue. Hero, on the other hand, counters that accepting peace is harder than fighting war, because it means that you need to trust others and let go of old battles and old grudges. Hero, I'm going to mission accepted by Gundam, again, Yui, has chosen to live, but has chosen to trust other people with peace. Wu Fei is completely taken aback that Hero, of all people, has adopted this mindset, and he lets the damaged Wing Zero get away. As this fight talk is going on, Duo, Troa, and Catra have picked up and deployed in the Death Scythe, the Heavy Arms, and the Sandrock, respectively, and move to support Zex and Noin, who are beginning to get overwhelmed. The odds are still against them, though, as they are fighting to disable, not kill, and that is always more of a challenge. The tide is beginning to turn on Marimea's forces, though, slowly but surely, as the general population begins to heed Relina's words and take to the streets to voice their dissent against this coup. Even Wu Fei turns on Marimea, standing as a sentinel over the crowds, but not engaging. Marimea is completely shocked by these turns of events and is shaken to her core, but the more dangerous response comes from Dakim Barton, who is livid with this, beginning to rant that the world belongs to him and his Barton Foundation. His troops begin to stand down as they expected a relatively bloodless change of power, not another full-scale war. This is all interrupted by Hero appearing above the bunker in the Wing Zero, and gives an ultimatum: stand down, or I fire. Marimea, beginning to fluster like a petulant child, taunts Hiro that, just try and fire, we have your precious Relina in the building. Neither Hiro nor Relina blink at this as the Wing Zero's Buster Cannon fires its first shot. The defenses quickly start to cave as the second shot is fired, but the damage to Wing Zero is taking its toll and the recoil of the Buster Cannon is something else. The Buster Cannon is quickly tearing the Gundam apart, but at this point Marimea realizes she is completely out of her depth, and her veneer of sophistication and control falls away, revealing a scared child asking for her father. As the third shot is charging, realizing that this is the one that will break through their estate and kill everyone inside, including Relina, Hiro pulls the shot off target, and the Wing Zero finally gives out and falls from the sky. The blast impacts and rubble is about to fall on Marimea, and Relina dives in to protect her, only to be protected in turn by the Lady Un, who's finally made her move. Un, who is still absolutely loyal to Treize Khushrenada, tells Marimea that her father would absolutely disapprove of her methods. Marimea protests this, of course, but a firm slap from Relina, of all people, sets her straight. Then Dakim pulls a gun on the three women. He's had enough of this. Dakim fires at Relina, but this time it's Marimea's turn to take a bullet. Un and Relina immediately move to try and save the poor girl, but Dakim just laughs and takes aim again, stating that she was just a figurehead and he can always just make another one. A shot rings out in the room, and Dakim falls to the floor, dead, executed by one of Marimea's officers under the grounds of treason. There are no protests to this action, and the man is not arrested. Marimea is rushed to a hospital, and the coup is over. Alright, epilogue time. Wing Zero was rendered completely inoperable by its own weapon. Death Scythe, Heavy Arms, and Sandrock are self-destructed together. Duo moves back home to his colony, working in a junkyard. Troa returns to the only home he has ever known, the circus. Catra, always a helper, joins the colony construction effort, seemingly as the administrator. As for the wayward Wu Fei, he also decides to self-destruct Altron, lamenting about losing his place in the world without war, until Sally offers him a job in the Preventers. Wu Fei accepts. The mysterious Zex and Noin decide to leave Earth and join the Deep Space Exploration Program, leaving Earth behind together. Marimea is adopted by Lady Un, who teaches her what kind of a man her father, Treize, really was. And finally, Relina returns to her duties as Vice Foreign Minister, working hard to keep the peace. And Hiro? Well, he survives, we know that much. But we don't really get an answer as to where he goes or what he does. Most likely, he wanders the world looking for a purpose. But that's just what I like to think. Overall, Gundam Wing Endless Waltz is quite good. A great bow to a big series in Gundam history. The irony is, while I find Wing itself a bit long-winded, I find myself wanting more out of Endless Waltz. It is very condensed, even for a miniseries. Speaking of the miniseries version, I do recommend watching this as a miniseries. It's still about the length of a movie, but adds so much more with the little extra time it gives. This movie also features 5 alternative designs for the 5 main Gundams, and they're very chef's kiss, adding heaps of cool to already legendary Gundam designs. Personal favorites of mine are the Altron, with its redesign and longer-ranged dragon head attacks, and the Sandrock, with its cloak, better use of verniers, and its huge shotels. Endless Waltz feels like the touchdown dance to a show that made Gundam cool where I live. Gundam Base at Diver City is a forever stop on any trip I'm taking to Japan, and that's because of the popularity of Gundam Wing in North America. If you love Wing, or just missed out on this one, or are just curious about Gundam that's not the Universal Century, or hell, if you just want a bunch of battling boy band Bishonens right out of a K-pop band, this is a good place to start. Thank you for tuning into Beefsnake Nerdcast. This has been Gundam Pilot Bolter. More tactical information can be found on social media. Next accepted mission will be discussing Elec of the Baraki. We'll meet at rendezvous. End transmission.
どんなことするの？